everyone. Welcome back to the Speakers Bureau, St. Lucie County Public Schools Speakers Bureau. It is so good to have you come back with us today. And if you're like me, you anticipate the speakers that we have that come on every month. There's such enlightenment and motivation and just encouragement to be able to hear the life stories of others and how they were able to overcome and how they were able to move forward in spite of whatever challenges they had. And that's what the Speakers Bureau is all about. It's about understanding that we all go through in life, we all have our challenges, and we all can make it if we hear from one another and encourage one another. So we have some great people that come on, and today we have a wonderful young lady, I would say, that's on today. And she is one of the Highwaymen. I guess we would say woman, right?
Highway woman, yes.
Yes, Miss Doretha. Miss Doretha Hare, and what's the last?
Truesdell.
Truesdell, yes. Very well known for her paintings and her artwork and throughout the years. And what a fabulous story I know we're going to hear today. I mean, this is so rare, and I thank you so much for coming on and being a part of it. Can you tell me, you're the president now of the organization. Would you name the organization and tell us what the organization is all about?
Absolutely. Dr. Mills, thank you so much. It's a privilege to be sitting across from you and giving me an opportunity to talk about my life and to talk about the organization, which is the original Florida Hall of Fame.
The original.
The original. Florida Hall of Fame Highwayman, Inc. That's our nonprofit, our 501c3. And what we want to do is to educate our youth about the Highwaymen, because so many of them don't even know about it. So many adults don't know about it. And that's what we want to do with our organization, to teach, educate, and to let them know about their legacy, which is ours.
Yes, and you hit a really serious point where you say our youth really don't know the history.
They don't.
They couldn't tell you, hardly anyone, even right here, local history. And so we have to do something about that.
We have to do that.
So that's important. I've been thinking myself of doing something, creating something, some exhibit where it's just information locally of people who have done things locally that have made a difference.
Absolutely. Oral history.
And in the history of it. So tell us something about your childhood memory, because I mean the Highwaysmen, you guys go back
years.
Ways, so.
I am not a native Floridian at all.
Oh, okay.
And I came from the mountains of West Virginia, which is very different from Florida. And I came to Florida, you know, in tragic circumstances. My father killed my mother, and I'm one of 12 children, but 9 lived and 3 died. And my older sister, Christine, was living here in Fort Pierce, and my mother's sister was living here. So when she was killed in June of 1959, I had just finished high school. My sister and I, we were in the same grade. We graduated in May of 1959, and June 13th, my father killed my mother. And my sister, Sarah, had left and gone to New York as an au pair. Our little town was so tiny. I mean, we really didn't have a stoplight, even a stop sign. It was just that small. And a little defunct coal mine in town, because all the coal companies had left, but still the houses that you stayed in were still there. And so my sister came and said, we're going back to Florida. All of us, our baby was 3 years old, so we were from 3 to 18. My sister was 21.
Was what now?
I was 16.
16, okay.
Yeah, but I was a high school graduate, so I was very important.
Oh, you had already graduated.
I had graduated high school. And our school, I later learned, we had to buy our books. It's the same way when you go to college. We had to buy our books, and I remember both of us being in the same class, so we had to, you know, use books and share books and all. And then when you got in 10th grade, you had to decide what your career would be. And my sister went into, they didn't call it cooking, but it was cooking,
Culinary,
chef,
yeah, chef.
culinary. And she was in a different building. They had different buildings that you would go to school in. So I wouldn't see her until the end of the day. And it was in Beckley, West Virginia. We lived in Glen White. Our high school was Stratton. So we were bused.
Okay.
And they picked up children from all the little mining towns around and go to one central location, which was in Stratton High School. And I
Was
took
it black and white kids mixed together?
no, totally
No?
separate,
Right,
totally
okay.
separate
But
schools.
still bused so far
A
away?
bus the white children were bused too because there was no school except elementary school in our town, so everybody was bused.
Wow.
And we had
That
a
is why
two-room
it's so
school.
important for all of our children to know the history.
Absolutely.
You know, and that it wasn't that long ago.
Not at
because
all.
it helps them, I believe, appreciate
You have
what
to.
they have now.
And be thankful.
Yes.
Because we had a two-room school, first through fourth grade, and then fifth through eighth grade, and then you were bused out to what
High
was the
school?
central location when you completed eighth grade. We had eighth grade graduation, and then you went to high school. And
So
our
how did you
class,
graduate at 16? How did that work back in those days? Was it on your own pace, or that you moved forward, or how did that work?
too many children in the house. My mom was just trying to get some of them out of the house. So when it was time for my older sister to go to school, she sent me too, right with her. Four,
And they didn't
put
turn
me
you,
right
they
out
didn't
there.
turn your way. It's
Well,
like,
it was a one-room school.
Okay.
And this town was even smaller than Glen White. This was Helen.
Okay.
So we had one room, and so they were just glad to have children for school. Just one
they were
one
glad
little
to
small.
have you.
But my mom said I used to cry so much. The teacher said if I didn't stop crying, she was going to make me stay home. But evidently I stopped. I was able to hang
Oh.
in there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I didn't want to go. I was too young. But it made me keep up.
And learn early.
And learn
which is so
early.
important.
I had to.
That foundation. And I know at one point when I was coming up, they felt you didn't start school until you started school.
Right.
But what we've learned since then is that children need to start earlier.
Absolutely.
And they start at home first.
First.
And then parents should be working with them at home with their little ABCs and their 1, 2, 3s and getting them ready. These child care centers and so forth. I'm big sold out on educating our children from the very beginning.
And some parents just didn't know.
Didn't know.
Because I know.
And some still don't know.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. But growing up, the only reading material we had was the Bible. So that's what we read, the Bible. Because comic books, what you call funny books, she did not allow. She was extremely religious, so you couldn't have. I can remember hiding them from her, though. Just
Who, your mom or your teacher?
My mom.
Your mom. Okay.
My mom. Yeah,
Oh,
she
wow.
just did not allow comic books at all. You could read the Bible, but that was it. That was your
it.
reading material.
Oh my gosh. So tell me, if you had a chance to do over in life, what would you do differently?
I don't think I would do anything differently.
Okay.
Only because everything that I have experienced and gone through in life brought me to this point, shaped me, and made me the person I am. Which a person that wants to love people. That's me. And that's what everybody say, well, you're a loving person. You should have some negativity about you. You smile all the time because what you have gone through in life. But that shaped me, made me appreciate life and to enjoy every minute of life and be thankful that I am alive.
Tragedy will do that to you. It will either kill you or will
Make you stronger.
So
Absolutely.
take your pick. Right?
That's it. And that's what happened. So no, I wouldn't change anything because what happened in my life I had no control over. So I'm sure the way it happened was the way it was destiny. It was destined to happen that way. You know?
Yeah. So, Miss Doretha, how did you get involved with the Highwaymen? How did you come here? I mean, I know you came through tragedy.
Yes.
But how did you find them? How did they find you? Tell us a little bit about that story.
Well, when I came here, I found Alfred Hare in June when I came to Fort Pierce. My cousin, because you know, coming here, you're just totally lost. I've lost the way of life that I know. Everything is different other than my sister, because my aunt really, I had not seen her. So she was, even though she was my mom's sister, she was new to me. She lived in Florida.
You never met her.
I had not met my aunt at all. So coming here, it was just a whole different world that I knew, and then trying to even find out where I fit into this different world, because it's not what I expected.
Did you say there were 9 of you that came to live with your mom's sister?
It was seven
of you,
because 2 was here.
Okay.
Yeah, 7 of us came
all
from
went
West
to
Virginia.
live in the same little house.
Yes,
or
we
whatever?
did. Right, we did.
And did she have children? Your mom's sister?
Well, she did, but she had a blended family. She had one daughter, but across the street, she was into real estate then, so she owned a house across the street, and she lived in her house.
Okay.
So her daughter lived in the house across the street. So we moved in with the daughter who had children also.
Wow.
And it was a lot of us in that house. It really was. And it's always, as I said the same thing. I'm always, I guess, opening my mouth and just saying what I see. And that was the same thing as coming from...
Sound like somebody I know.
Yeah, coming from West Virginia. My uncle came up, my uncle and aunt, they came up in a Golden Hawk Studebaker. As far as I'm concerned, a small sports car. I'm looking in this car, and all of us are supposed to ride back to Florida in this car.
Or walk behind it, but y'all getting back to Florida.
I'm looking in this car, you know, they were so proud of it, just new and everything. And I said to my sister, all of us cannot fit into that car. Well, because I said that, I rode the Greyhound bus to Florida, and my younger sister came with me. Everybody else was in the car.
Oh my goodness, so that was a blessing that y'all got on the Greyhound bus.
But they stopped in South Carolina and spent like 2 days in South Carolina. So here, me and my sister in Florida, we don't know anybody.
Right, you got there before they got there, yeah. Wondering if they would even ever make it or come over.
And they got a chance to see my grandmother, which I didn't get to see. Just because I opened my mouth, I'm on the bus. And this is with Alfred, even with the house, I'm saying to my sister, all of us cannot live in this little house here. And Christine, she's deceased, my oldest sister, but the most wonderful sister you ever want to have.
The one that took y'all in?
Yes.
Yeah. Because
she got us an apartment for ourselves, just because I'm opening my mouth.
Oh my.
But then my cousin, like I said, we were just moping around, so my cousin said, well, let's go out to Coler's Drive-In. 25th Street was a total dirt road. So we go out there, and it's supposed to be teenagers, but I didn't see any girls out there. I didn't see anything but guys out there. And all the guys want to take the new girl on a date, you know.
Oh, boy.
So, but this guy says, the question you asked me, same thing. He said, do Negroes and whites go to school together in West Virginia? Everybody else want to go on a date. You want to worry about you think about whether we go to school? Well, that was Alfred. I didn't know at the time. But he made me think by saying that nobody even asked that or even seemed to care about that. So I asked my cousin, I said, who was that guy that asked me that question? She said, well, you know, that house on 13th Street, he's been in the service. He built that house for his mom.
On 13th Street?
Yeah.
This 13th
this
Street.
13th
right
Street.
Okay.
Unbeknownst to me, Alfred was going into the 11th grade. He had not been in any service or anything,
Okay.
and not even his brother. So I don't even know who she could have mixed him up with.
Okay.
But in any case, I had a dream about him that night. So I saw Alfred again, and we were, I don't know, someplace, and I can't think of what word now, but it was a song, and I was with my sister, I was with Chris too, and I wanted to dance. I wanted him to ask me to dance. And sure enough, here he came. And he asked me to dance. And someone else had asked to take us home that night because, of course, we didn't have a car. And I told this other person, I said, yeah, you could take us home. And then when Alfred danced, I had to go and ask to take me home. I had to go to this
Oh
other
my
guy
goodness,
and tell him
you're
that
going way back.
Yeah. Well, I don't think he ever forgave me for that.
So you ended up getting married?
Yes,
and
yes.
you had children? Or?
Four.
4 children,
Four,
okay.
yes. When Alfred was killed, our baby was 7 weeks old. And,
So your husband was killed?
Oh, Alfred was killed. Yeah,
Oh,
Alfred
you've
was
been
killed
through some tragedy.
August 9th, 1970. Almost 10 years to when my mom was killed.
Oh, boy.
And the same thing, you know, your
Was it
world
right in
stopped.
in this county?
Right at Eddie's Drive, Eddie's place right there on Avenue D. And Alfred, even as a teenager, but Alfred finished school at 20. He didn't finish school until 61. So, but in 59, he was like 18. And he would go to, well, Avenue D had all these businesses. It was just a
Booming
total.
at that time?
Oh, Avenue D was totally everything. The whole street was just booming with business. Everybody had a business.
Anything that you wanted, you could get right there.
Everything right on Avenue D. Everything that you wanted. And Alfred, he loved
Do
to
you
shoot
miss
pool.
that? Do you miss
Of
that?
course.
Is that something that you think
Yeah.
we should make sure
We
happens again?
yes, yeah. And I think that's sort of what happened to us, to our youth, because they don't have all the places to go that we were able to go. You could walk to any place. You didn't have to have a car. You could just get up and walk to any place and buy clothing, food. You know.
Did you think of it as a safe place?
I did.
Back then,
Totally. I used to work when I came here, I got a job at the bus station. And when I didn't get a ride with Alfred, I would walk. We lived on 13th Street, and I could walk from 13th up to US 1 to the bus station to go to work, and could walk home at night.
So now, I'm still wanting to find out, how did you get involved with the highways?
Because Alfred was in high school, as I said, and Zenobia Jefferson was his art teacher.
Oh.
And Beanie Backers knew Zenobia Jefferson, and there's two different stories how it happened. Alfred told me that Beanie Backers went to Lincoln Park Academy because he wanted to teach a black student his art. He wanted to give back. And others have said that Miss Jefferson took them on a field trip to Beanie Backers' house studio, because his studio was at his house. He lived where he painted. And but Alfred said that Beanie came to Lincoln Park Academy and went to the guidance council and wanted to teach the best art student. Well, Alfred was sort of like
The best?
the best.
Okay.
And Alfred was sort of devilish. And so, you know, in school, you're going to put what you call your brightest star forward. And they were saying, well, you know, Alfred and Beanie said, well, I don't care, I just want the best student. And Alfred was the best art student. And he took Alfred and mentored him.
Okay.
This was like 10th grade on through 12th grade, and even after, when in 60 they built which saved my life, a junior college here. They built Lincoln Junior College onto Lincoln Park School, so we just
Go right into the college.
That's it.
And so you went to college as
right
well.
there. And I wasn't going to go to college. How could I go? I'm working, helping to support the little ones, 3 years old up. I'm 16, so now I got to help support them. And Alfred was the reason that I went to the junior college, because I said, I'm going to wait for my sister to finish. I'm second. So when Sarah finished junior college, then I'll go. And he said, no, you give your money to the family. You pay your own way. You go to school.
And you mentioned it saved your life, it felt like?
Oh,
In
yeah.
what ways?
Because I would have probably been doing menial work.
Okay, I got it. You were able to.
I was able to
Do
get an
better for yourself.
education
Right,
without any funds or any scholarship, with no one to help me. My sister wasn't able to help me. So when I went to junior college, and it's always an angel somewhere in your life.
Yes, it is.
You may not know it, but it's an angel there. Virginia Bryant, that was the librarian at Lincoln Junior College, said to me, my mom lives in Tallahassee. You go and live with her and go to Florida A&M University. I applied, got accepted.
Oh.
Alfred gave me $25 a bus ticket. And I got on the bus and I called a granny.
You did what you needed to do.
I did what I needed to do.
And it helped save your
It
life.
saved my life. Saved my life. Just that fork in the road. And that's how I got a chance to go to Florida A&M and graduate. And I graduated in like a year and a half because I had a purpose to go to school, get out, and get a job, because I always worked.
Once
So
you're really ready, nothing can
that's
really
it.
stop you.
No.
Once you're ready and you know this is something I'm going to do, there's something triggers something inside of a person, and it's hard to
That's it.
stop.
And still, I'm in business. I still didn't deviate from business from high school, because that's
Working,
what was shorthand and everything. And Alfred, at this time, when he finished high school, he started junior college too. But he said, I can't do it, Doretha. I want to paint, and that's what I'm going to do. And he quit.
Okay.
And he put his paintings in his car and in the trunk and up and down the highway. That's how they came up with that term, highway. That up and down the highway, he went to sell his
Was he
paintings.
the first?
Well, Harold Newton
Or
was
he with
older
the
than
group?
that.
Was he with the group?
No, no group. Harold Newton was older than Alfred, so he was painting before Alfred was.
Okay.
But Alfred had gone to high school here, so he had a lot of friends that knew him, and so
And
when
he just
we
set up on the highway, somewhere on the highway. And
well,
start
he would go to office buildings. I know Mr. Sammy Gaines said, when I would see Alfred coming, I said, no, Alfred, I don't want any more painting.
No more painting.
And Alfred said, yes, you do. You want this one. And Mr. Gaines was saying, how many paintings that he would get from Alfred, because Alfred was going to sell his work. And then, but he would go south and sell his paintings. He would sell them around town to businesses, doctors and lawyers, sell them for like $25.
So were you an artist as well? Did you?
I didn't know a thing about art until I saw Alfred and Beanie Backer's painting.
Okay.
Because I was working at the bus station.
Do you do art now? Or
I
did
do.
you-
Alfred taught me.
Okay,
Oh, he
I
didn't
want
let
that
me
to-
get out of it now.
You had to do your share to learn your skill.
Man, and everything we did was homegrown, even the frames, because Alfred would make the frames. So I started first painting frames. So I took that off of him. He could paint and didn't have to worry about painting his frames. He would
Okay.
cut them and put them together, and then I would paint them. And after we came from, actually I interned in Eatonville, and Alfred interned with me. He just wasn't in school, but he would sell his paintings around in that area. And then we came back to Fort Pierce the beginning, January of '65. I graduated December of '64. And we stayed in an apartment on Avenue E. It's always when I say I open my mouth, but I'm saying to Alfred, this stop sign is leaning up against the apartment. Our bedroom is here. If they miss whatever reason, they go right into the bedroom. Well, October of '65, we moved into our house on Dunbar Street.
So that helped propel you to the next.
That's it.
Let me ask you, because we're almost out of time.
Oh, my
but
goodness.
See, I told you it goes quick.
Wow.
Yeah, we're just gonna have to have you come back, and me and you could just, maybe we'll just, I don't know how we're gonna do this, but you really have just impressed me with such history, and we've hardly have gotten into it yet.
No.
But I want to know, what teacher in school made the most impact on you?
I'm going to say my elementary school teachers, Mrs. Howard, who taught me from like 2nd through 4th grade, and Mrs. Wright, who was my 5th through 8th grade teacher. But she also taught piano, and we took piano lessons from her. And when I say dirt poor, but I didn't think it never appeared, felt like we were poor, but we had to have
So
been.
you
There's
really
no
knew.
question about it. But somehow we were able to
Get
take
lessons?
piano lessons,
Yeah.
and which to this day amazed me, because to have a piano in your home just,
So you even had a piano in the home.
yeah.
So you
Yes, I did.
So these teachers, why were they so impressive? I can see the piano teacher, but the other teacher you mentioned, what was it about them that?
Because you had to teach 1st through 4th, all of these children at the same time in the same room. And I taught, so I know lesson plans for all of these different levels of students.
So you became a teacher.
I did. I
Okay.
did.
And what subject and what did you teach?
Well, I majored in business, and of course, I think Ms. Page was the business teacher here in Fort Pierce. In '67, I think after I had my 3rd child, to augment our income, I decided I'm going to teach. And I got a job at Francis Gate Suite.
Oh, wow.
And
Glad we
that's
got to
when,
that part.
yeah, integration came about.
Yes.
So I, because I'm the newest teacher, we had to integrate. You had to make your choice, and if you didn't want to, you didn't have a choice. So I went to Fort Pierce Elementary, which is now magnet school, right there on Delaware. And then with 4 children, all my kids are like 18 months, 19, just so close together. And finally, with the baby, after say, you know what, you just need to stop and stay home. And so I gave up teaching. And when he got killed, the baby's 7 weeks old, I have to go back. And so I went to Garden City and started teaching again, and that was teaching 5th grade. And when I was at Francis Gate, which I had 6th grade then, but because I was in business, I needed to be certified in elementary education. So I went back and got my master's in elementary education, since I had to certify.
Wow, my goodness. Well, we have like less than 30 seconds here to wrap up. But my God, you have inspired so many people. I know out there, homes and families and women and mothers and wives and
Yes.
students, and that no matter what,
Never give
you
up.
can make it. Never give up.
up.
That is your story.
Never
I mean,
give
some
up.
of the things that you have had to endure, and I myself have had to endure, that people have no idea
Exactly.
of what we went through in
They
life.
see
and
you
yet-
now, they just say,
Yeah.
oh, she had such an
Oh,
easy
but
life.
they wouldn't want to walk in my shoes at all. So we are out of time. Oh, thank you so much for coming to the Speakers
I
Bureau.
appreciate it so
the
much.
School Board of St. Lucie County and the Superintendent appreciates your
Oh,
being
thank you.
here, and as well as myself.
Thank you
so
for
much,
having
Ms. Dr.
me.
Yeh.
Thank you.
Doretha.
Yes,
Yes.
thank you. I appreciate it so much,
God
Dr.
bless you, sir.
Mills. Thank you.
Okay.